What new adventure awaits today? Welcome to Driftless Ventures. I am Ken Gear, bringing you my adventures from the driftless area of south central Wisconsin. I'm back in the woods. I'm headed out to set up my trail cameras to monitor deer action for the summer. And earlier I had done a video on old morels and old toms. And in that video I had found some golden oyster mushrooms. I'm back out here, 2 weeks later, and I'm finding golden oyster mushrooms. These guys are edible, and as you can see, as I come up here on this hillside, I'm finding these mushrooms everywhere, and they are edible, but they are an invasive fungi. They originate in the Asian territories. They come from China, Japan, and parts of Russia. These mushrooms have been brought over here, and people have raised them in kits, to raise their own mushrooms. But the spores have gotten, out into nature and on these dead trees and dead logs. I can see why they consider them an invasive fungi, because I'm finding them, like I said, I'm finding these everywhere, going back up over the bluff. I'm finding more now than I did 2 weeks ago. So just thought you guys might find that interesting. All right, it is May 30th. We've had a good season this year. We had a good turkey season. We found some morel mushrooms, and if you watched any of my videos, we found a timber rattlesnake as well. Just exciting moments for me. But today, like I said, we're out hanging trail cams, and I'm going to share my method of hanging trail cams and running trail cams. Not saying it's the only way. I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm just saying it's how I do it and what's worked for me. What works for you, is great, but hopefully you can take something away that I might, share here today that'll help you, and that's what this is all about, But when I run trail cams, I usually pull my trail cams in the spring, usually when the deer are shedding their antlers, for sure. I pull most of my cell cams before the rifle hunters get out on public land. I usually like to try and pull all of them, really, before those rifle hunters come out. Just because I don't like to give my spots away or, have them damage a camera, which has never happened, but I pull my trail cams. Sometimes I'll put them back out after rifle season's done, just to see if I can catch, deer that made it through rifle season. So yeah, I'm back out hanging my trail cams. I run two styles of cameras. This is a Spartan Go Cam. I call this my surveillance camera. This is a cell cam, sends pictures right to my phone. I have 3 of these guys. They have updated versions of this camera now. I think they have the Spartan Go Live Cam, which I hear is a spectacular camera. These guys still work great. I have had 0 issues with them. Super good battery life. I just put fresh batteries in this before I came out, and it will last all summer, all fall on those batteries, on the lithium batteries that I put in here. I use this camera after I find the deer. After I find a buck, I put this out and for surveillance to pattern him watching. The other camera I use are these muddy cameras. This is a MUD-MTC 100. It's a very small, compact camera. As you can see, it's about the size of the palm of my hand. Very small, very compact. These little cameras work great. I use these because, number one, the size, they fit in my pack well, and I call these kind of my shotgun approach cameras. I use these, I just put them out in spots where, just shoot them out there, get them out there, find that buck. I usually put them in spots where, I'm not quite sure if there's a buck here or when I'm traveling through, but, we'll just put it here and we'll find out. It's my shotgun approach. I use a HuntWise app on my phone, and in that app, it allows me to drop a pin for my trail cams. I have these guys numbered, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. I have 6 of these cameras. So when I hang one of these cameras, I drop a pin on my app and I mark where it's at so I don't forget, or I can find it again out here. But I'll drop a pin on my app so I can find it and go right back to it. It helps me a lot just to keep track of the cameras. I'll put these guys out in a new spot. I usually like to leave them, depending on how I think the deer are traveling through, but usually 2 to 3 weeks, usually not any longer than 3 weeks. These little cameras, I have found the big buck that I'm after right now is a result of one of these little cameras and how I found him. I have had him several times on one of these little cameras, and I actually have a video where I have 8 different bucks in one 10-second video on one of these little cameras. They don't have sound, I got to change the card, but they work so well. They're so compact. They work great. To hang the cameras, the method that I hang them or put them out in the woods might be a little different than what most do, but hopefully I can share something here that'll help you. As you see on the tree behind me, I've got set up a couple different setups. I have a tree step here, a single tree step with a nylon webbing strap. This is made by Lone Wolf. Super strong, super sturdy. It's nice and compact. I can fold it up, put it on my pack, and carry it with me. I use this step. I'll put this step on the tree about as high as I can step up. I'll get up on the top step and I'll reach up the tree as far as I can reach and attach my camera to the tree and point it to the direction where I figure the deer are coming. Then I secure that camera. As you can see behind me, I have nylon webbing strap here. This green one, I don't know if you can see this, but this strap, as you can see, stands out behind that on that tree really well. I like to use paracord. This paracord blends in with the tree. It's extremely hard to see, and it's strong. It holds the camera just fine. I've never had any issues. But the nylon webbing doesn't look natural to a deer. This Lone Wolf strap that Lone Wolf has on this tree step, like I said, it's strong, it's sturdy, it works really well. But when I'm hunting with it, I find that this strap is made of a synthetic fiber, which has an unrealistic sheen or a shine to it. It reflects light. I don't know if you can see that or not, but when a deer walks up or comes in, they see that strap just because it looks unnatural. And it's not so much how the strap lays on the tree as much as the shine. It's those little details that the deer notice. So I like to use paracord to tie my camera to the tree, and then I'll take a Python cable lock and to go through the camera, and I lock it on the tree as well. I put a stick towards the top of the camera and point it down to the ground. It just putting that camera up there, that 10, 12 feet, I have never had an issue with anybody vandalizing or damaging the camera, and it gets out of the eyesight of the deer. So hope some of those pointers kind of help you guys out. Certainly if you have questions, put a comment in. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But that's kind of my method and how I run my trail cam. So I'm going to get out, get a camera up, see if we can get a picture of this buck that I'm after. And I want you guys to comment on the buck. I want to name this buck, but I want you guys to name it and come up with some creative names. I'll share some pictures, and I'll share a picture of half his shed that I found this year right here. So I know he's, was still here when he shed his antlers. So I want to see if I can get him on camera again, and let's see if we can name this guy. But hope this helps. On my hike in up here, I'm kind of in a saddle on a bluff. I climb about a total of 600 feet to get up here. But as I get up about 500 feet, I hit a saddle. It's really strange up on top here. You would think that being up on top of a hill, it would be, drier. All the water would run off and it would be drier. But as you can see in the background, all the ferns, it's very damp up here. It holds a lot of moisture. There's even a couple of small little ponds that retain water up here. Just a very wet area. But in that wet area, as you can see in all these ferns, these plants growing here is what they call, it's called jewel weed. Jewel weed will grow up to probably about waist high, chest high. It'll have orange blossoms on it. And when I come back in here later in the summer or just before bow season, the deer will be in here and they will just have mowed off the tops of them. Jewel weed is well known for municipal purposes. If you have poison ivy, gotten into poison ivy, you can take the leaves off of these jewel weed and you can spread it or wipe the moisture from the leaves. It's almost like aloe vera. You can rub it on the poison ivy and it stops the itching and the burning from the poison ivy. But the deer seem to like it. They eat it. Must taste good to them. I've never tried to eat it. I'm sure it's probably edible, but just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay guys, this is kind of spur of the moment, but I out here setting up trail cams, my cell cams, to watch for a big buck that I've been watching. not 10 feet from the tree where I was just getting ready to put my cell cam, I flush a turkey. And I thought to myself, no, could it be? And yes, it is. It's another nest of turkey eggs. There's 10 turkey eggs there. So in my demonstration, I had showed you two kinds of cameras that I use. I use my surveillance cameras, which I'm putting up today, and I have my small muddy cameras, which I call my shotgun cameras. I find a spot I want to just scout to see what's there. I take it and just set it up quick, mark it on my phone, and I'll come back in a couple weeks and just see what's there. Well, I had one with me. So I set it up on the tree right here, and I got it looking over the nest, the turkey nest. I got it on video mode. These turkey eggs have to be so close to being ready to hatch, I would say within the next week. Hopefully I have enough battery and enough space on my card. My card's empty, so hopefully we can get some really cool footage of a turkey on her nest, and if we're lucky, maybe see some young poults come off the nest. But I'm gonna leave this camera about 2 weeks and see what we get. I think it'll be a cool spur of the moment project, but yeah, running trail cams is so much fun. Okay, I've been giving you guys some information as far as what I use for equipment, you know, in my cameras and how I set them and whatnot. But I haven't really covered the areas that I set my cameras. I can't stress enough how important it is to get out like during shed hunting season, when that snow is melted down and just to where the fallen leaves from last fall are starting to, you know, appear through the melting snow. You can see trails, you can kind of figure out where deer are traveling. You can find areas like what I have here where there's scrapes, last year's scrapes. There's several more scrapes back up in here, big scrapes. And I specifically found this area because of shed hunting. And when I was out early in the season doing a lot of walking, there are major travel corridors that all intersect right here in this spot. It's on a knoll. Topographically, this is kind of like a point that comes out here. But there are travel corridors that all intersect here. And at this area, there is major scrapes, big scrapes, just because deer know it's an area where they cross, they congregate. They know more than likely traveling does, hot does, are going to crisscross here in one of those travel corridors. So if you see behind me up here in the tree, I've set my cell cam to watch over where this scrape area is, because the scrape area is not just scrapes. It's a major travel corridor through here in multiple directions. I call this spot the wagon wheel because the spot's kind of like the hub of a wagon wheel, and the spokes of the wagon wheel are like trails or the corridors that come off from this, and they all intersect right at the, at the hub of the wheel. And that's why I call the spot the wagon wheel. But there's just a little bit of insight on what to watch for and where to put the cameras up, because a lot of deer, travel the corridors and they crisscross here, so the chances of seeing that big buck are going to be really good right here. I have him on camera here just before he shed his antlers on one of my shotgun cameras. So this is where I actually got the footage of the 8 bucks in a 1/10-second video. Here's the remnant of what's left of a big morel mushroom. Too far gone, but boy, he was a nice one. Got the last trail cam set up, my last surveillance cam. But the spot I'm at, I found while I was shed hunting. When you shed hunt, you travel a lot of ground and you get a feel for the contour of the land and how deer are, using trails going through. And I found this scrape. It's in a really unique area, kind of where a travel corridor or multiple kind of travel through. Very isolated area, but when I was in here this spring, early this spring in March, when I found this area, I kind of knew I found a spot, and I wanted to put the trail cam on, which you can see in the background. My trail cam is there in the tree. But I got a trail cam here, probably about 10 yards away from the scrape. But when I was in here this spring, I took this grapevine, and this is a old piece of a grapevine that I cut off, and I attached it up there in the tree. I just used a single zip tie and attached it up in the tree, and I hung it right over the scrape. You may have heard guys using rope or a grapevine over a scrape, to attract deer. And I can tell you this method works extremely well. For some reason, the deer really like the fact that this just hangs and dangles here. And I kind of wondered, in just the couple months that this has been here, if deer had visited it. And if you look down here on this, they've already got the bark just scraped off from it. If you can see, there's deer hair stuck in the bark of this grapevine. So they're already using this, and they're already, using it. I'm not sure if they're bucks, does, not sure. But bucks, does, fawns, they all will use this. It's just kind of a territory marker where deer will come here just to mark their scent, to kind of let other deer know who they are. Hopefully in the fall then, the bucks are going to visit this looking for a hot doe. And I've chosen an area here that I have multiple trees in every direction. So no matter the wind direction here, I can get my saddle up in a tree on the downwind side of this scrape. It's just one of my setups. I've kind of calling this spot my high hopes. But I put a pin here when I was shed hunting and marked this scrape. Otherwise, I probably would have a very difficult time finding it here. But just wanted to give you guys a little bit of that. And I've got my trail cam set up, and I'm gonna head back towards the car. It's probably about 2 miles for me to get there, but I'm gonna go check out a spot where I think I might know where a rattlesnake den is at. I'm gonna go see if I can catch one basking in the sun. Seems like you guys really liked my rattlesnake video, and I'm gonna go see maybe if I can catch one out basking. As you can see on the timestamp on this photo, I had a doe and a buck at the grapevine the next morning. Well, it's time to call it a day. Got trail cams hung, found a turkey nest and put a trail cam on it. Beautiful day in the woods, temperature's just right. Just a beautiful day to be in the woods, but anxious to see what the trail cams come up with. Going to be sharing that with you guys here, and hopefully we can get our big buck on trail cam here on our cell cams, and hopefully we can get a turkey on the nest, and hopefully get some pulse coming off from the nest. I guess we're going to just let the trail cam soak and see what happens. Stay tuned for more adventure. Thanks for joining me today, and remember to comment on an idea for a name for my buck, and we'll see you next time on Driftless Ventures.